First of all, thank you very much for having us. It gives us the opportunity to come and say about the research. I would like to talk about three things. If I just have a chart. First, I would talk about the Brexit. Then I will talk about the theoretical part of my research, and then I will talk about the practical side of my research, and I will connect them with my personal experience in the army, in the way of creating and taking care of emergency situation, and the specific that I got from the results. So I'm going to connect it. I'm going to take the three parts. My topic is consolidated policy to manage nuclear risk. Coping with an eventual rehabilitation of the states. It's important to say that we have a scale that I will go over it in a few minutes, and the scale is going from 0 to 7. 0 is nothing that nobody hears about, and number 6 and 7 is the huge, like Fukushima, like Hiroshima, like Chernobyl events that everybody heard about. So my research is taking care of only on the 6 and 7 events, and I will explain to you why I decided to take this part. I will go over today a few words about my experience. I will talk about the Brexit, nuclear reactors, how it's developed all over the world, some atomic particles, scientific facts, and I will talk to you about field research. I've gone some places and I did the tour inside the reactors and the partial conclusion of my experience, and I will show you the practical side of the research and how I can connect them together. My professional experience is I'm a colonel in the Israeli, the Army, the Defense Army as a reserve, and my main part today, I'm full responsibility for the idea of the Israeli Defense Force Army to practice a wide-scale earthquake, tsunami, and a big event. Basically, my job is to build the scenario that the Army will train and make drill and get this practice. So that's what I'm doing in the reserve. A few words about the Brexit. First of all, why I think the Brexit has happened. I would like to explain here something very basic about forces of, if I take three continents, for example, let's take the Soviet Union. So this is the Soviet, if I take one country, is Ukraine, is Belarus, etc. Okay, so this is the central, and those are the countries. If I take the EU, so we take the EU as a center, and then we have Romania, Britain, etc. And if we take the United States, we take Washington, it's inside, and then we take New York, California, etc. So those are the centers and the country around. There is a force, a very tensional force between the power of the center and the power of the country. For example, if you want to make the organization like the United States is quite stable organization, you need to take the power from these side countries, New York, Manhattan, and Ukraine, and you give it to the center. So this is one power. The problem is that the more power you take to the center, for example, the EU slowly by slowly is taking the powers, the rules are dominating the civilians. So the more power you take from the side countries to the center, you have a bigger and stronger organization. So what happened with the EU, in my opinion, in my perspective, they took too much power. If you take too much power, you make a good organization and strong, but you weaken the endpoint. And Britain is not a small country, it's not some side country, it's a developed, very technologies, very high intelligent, the academic are very advanced. So there is a delicate tension, how much you take the power to the center, and how much you leave a power for the civilian. So what happened, in my opinion, is I think it's a catastrophe. Well, we see what happened in Britain, that the power, they took too much power and they took too much taxes and money from the country. And that's why you hear Britain, in some high position in Britain, they said we're going to a bad situation. So that's what I think. One more thing is important, in my opinion, to say that it's all my assumption after material I read and looked for. The Brexit in Britain happened for two reasons. The politicians wanted to make the Great Britain of all days. They want to be a superpower, like the United States, like Russia, like China. They wanted to go back. The citizen didn't look to go back and be powerful and superpower. They just say, we pay too much tax. I don't want to pay so much tax to the union. I want my children to start with the tax. So what I'm saying here, the point is, I think the Brexit happened because of two reasons. The citizens pay too much tax, the politicians want to go back and be a superpower. And I think, in my opinion, today to be a superpower is, I don't want to say impossible, but it's very, very difficult. So that's what I think the reason for the Brexit. The valuation of the global is, goes to big blocks. I say, go on a ship. Israel is a very advanced country, it's a technology, but we have to have a ship. The mothership, for example, is the United States. We have good relations with Russia. But all countries, also like Britain, I think either you become a superpower or you find a ship. So you find a ship. So today, in my opinion, the Britain said we want to be a ship, and I said, hold on, it's not that easy. The world is very advanced, technology is all around. It's not. I think it's in the back days it was easier to be a superpower. Today it's very difficult. So I think it's the opposite direction. The Brexit is a special and complex process of evolution, but it's flipped to the opposite direction. And what happened in the future? The union, at the short term, will be weakened, and Britain will be stronger, but only for the short time. And then it will flip back. So the union will get its power back, and Britain will get weakened. That's my prediction. And we'll see. 10 years we'll meet here again, Adrian, and we'll see if I was wrong or right.
Love to.
A few words about I lecture sometimes, and I was interviewed a few weeks ago on the Channel 9, on the Russian channel, etc. And they said, what's about the nuclear? It's going to go away, everything is safe, it's okay. So just to say this, it's not okay. Today we have about 100 nuclear power plants. Only 90 of them are not working because of safety problems, because they're old, because they found problems, they don't want to take chances. So basically, and only China is building about almost 100 new nuclear, because energy-wise it's very clean energy. People don't understand. If I compare statistically what happened in the number of cars to the number of accidents, or number of planes to the number of accidents, or number of nuclear to number of accidents, nuclear is a very efficient. Coal is only 5% efficient than coal and fuel. It's only 5% is the energy of nuclear, which means the nuclear is not going to disappear. It's going to be more and more. Germany said we are very advanced, we're very rich. We don't want to have any nuclear on our land. On the other hand, French, 80% of the electricity is from nuclear. Germany said we're rich, we're going to buy electricity, we're not going to make. But the world is full of reactors. And since 1917, 22,000 accidents happened. Some of them you don't know about, and some of them Fukushima and Hiroshima, and things that you know. There are submarine, like 51 atomic bombs. We know this number are disappeared. Nobody knows where they are, which means a full submarine with the crew, with atomic bombs, disappeared. Nobody knows if it was stolen, if it drowned, if it's waiting to be a war, and nobody knows. So 40 belongs to the Soviet Union, and 11 is for the United States. If you want just as a joke, a real joke, unfortunately. 3 years ago, the United States, in the middle of the United States, 3 years ago, a pilot threw 2 atomic bombs to the land. One of them, just by mistake. So they fired everybody, but this happened 3 years ago. A big atomic plane dropped 2 bombs. One of them they found, and now one of them is in a garden yard with some neighbors. Nobody knows where it is. They're just waiting there to be found. So, and this is only one, but I can tell you much more. So if I take statistics, I say the average per year is 32 accidents per year, and 2.6 a month, which means I'm going to have work still. I'm not going to be out of work in the near future. Scientific facts, I don't want to go deep into it, but if you take uranium-235 and you hit it with a particle, you get 2, and this is the atomic fusion. There's others, but the point is, I want to say we have 3 kinds of things that we should be afraid of. It's alpha particles, beta particles, and gamma rays. Alpha particles, no problem. If you have an atomic bomb or any kind of atomic problem, the skin is okay. Is a piece of paper will do the same job, no problem. Beta particles, it's going to go a little more like aluminum, but it's not a big problem. The gamma ray is a big problem because going through concrete and through lead and everything, and I can show you here, not update now. This is, you see, this is a copper, aluminum, and lead or concrete. And we have the alpha particle, the beta particles. And the gamma is a wave. That's why it doesn't stop by concrete. It just, you see, it stops. This is by paper or skin, there's no problem. Beta goes a little bit farther, but stops. But gamma is a wave. It doesn't really actually, you see, it goes through and it goes to the concrete. So gamma wave is a wave. It's not a particle. It's not a moving particle. It doesn't hit anything. That's why it goes through the skin. Not to scare everyone, but usually when I talk to someone, I say, okay, you get me calm, but just to give you an idea, we have kiloton, we have megaton. This is the biggest bomb ever made in '61 by the Soviet Union. 50 megaton. Why they don't make it anymore? It's too big. It's not practical to do anything with it. It's something with the Earth. It's really big. When you fly to Europe, you fly about 30,000 feet. The mushroom height is connected by equation to the power of the bomb. So this is Hiroshima and Nagasaki. There where you fly. So the bombs that are today all over the armies of the world is about here, from here to here. Megaton is really a big one. It calls B-83, but it's really huge. There's no point to make a bigger bomb. It doesn't do enough. Okay, now I'm going to go a little bit into my research. It looks full, but it's not that full. I'm going to talk about three parts. My research claim, then I will tell you the international scale, how you measure a nuclear event. And I remind you, nuclear event is a terror, is explosion, is bomb, is terror, it's everything. Okay, it's atomic bomb and it's reactor, even though it's two different, but it's connected. So my claim, the scale, and then I will tell you why I reached to this claim. So my research claim is the countries that have gone a large nuclear scale, eventually failed and managed the crisis. I mean, Japan, they have Fukushima, they have Hiroshima, Nagasaki, even though it was a long time ago. We have Chernobyl. My claim is they didn't act well, and I'll explain to you why. This is the international scale. After Chernobyl, the world has got together and made a scale. The scale is going from 1 to 0. The INES is the International Nuclear Event Scale. They measure it by how long the problem is and how many people were concerned. Today, we know for fact that Germany, Israel, the United States, many countries, they do some exercise about nuclear. All going for something called dirty bomb. Dirty bomb is a regular bomb that you know, you see the news, and they put some materials, radioactive materials inside. The point is, it's very frightening, it causes very panic, but it's not that big. It's something small, you know, it's like a canyon. It's not like Chernobyl go over Europe. So the war, the scenario, the formal... Yes, it should be relief. No, it's a canyon over other cities, so you're okay. So the formal scenario today is going to the 1 and 2 scale. And then my claim is that Fukushima, which is 7, Chernobyl, which is 7, 3 Mile in the United States, 7. So I think the world is not, you're not ready for this. So this is my claim, that the world is going for 1 and 2, and my ONDM is an operational nuclear defense model. It's something I'm developing for 2.5 years, and because I found this claim, I wanted to make a model how to deal with a very big event, and the model is doing so far so good. How I claim this? The reason for failure: prepared small event, that I said before, did not prepare the right plan. Fukushima, if you go to any country today, you go to Romania, you go to, I don't know, Belarus, you said, what happened, Mr. Government, if you have a nuclear cell? They said, listen, we don't want to talk about it, it's very secret, we don't want the public to be panicked, but we have a plan. If something happened, we pull the plan, we work. Japan said that, but Fukushima happened, they have nothing to pull out. And it found out from my research, I go by many countries, they say they're afraid to touch the topic, it's too big, so they don't have plan. This is what happened in Fukushima for fact. They didn't have plan. If we take Chernobyl, even though it was 30 years ago, they didn't have a plan. So when Fukushima happened, what they say, Gorbachev was there, they pull out the plan of what to do if someone bombs you with atomic bomb. But it's two different things, atomic bomb and a dirty bomb and a nuclear reactor problem. So this is basically the scenario in many countries. Underestimated the country. If you go to the United States, we said we are very powerful. North Korea is very small in a given problem. Iran is very small. In my professional opinion, they are underestimating the problem. Many people, and also the politicians and the high position, they said because the size of the event is very, very big, there's not really something to do. If I ask you, as an audience, what you do tomorrow if you have a big event, I don't know, on the other side of the country, you say, what can I do? Yes? Can you do something? There are many things you can do, government level, but also the private level. But because people think it's so big, there's nothing to do. If you go to my website, I'll tell you in a minute, and you can go there, you see actual things that you can do, you and your family, cost zero, not problem, just to understand some basic facts. If I go to Fukushima, I found a few cases of 1 to 10. For example, what happened in Fukushima? When the cases occurred, the government said to 136,000 people evacuate. How many people evacuate presently? 1.5 million. Fukushima, that's Chernobyl in our cell. In Fukushima, the government said 600 people, please evacuate. How many people evacuated? Above 10 million. If you want to understand the number, for example, Cluj, I think it's about 500,000 people. Let's say the government of Cluj said, listen, we have a problem, 50,000 people, move. But not 50,000 people will move, 500,000 will move. You understand that nobody goes anywhere, we're all stuck here. So this is, we see it in many cases, that 1 to 10, the government asks X, and the public, because they know nothing, because nobody told them anything about nuclear, they move 10 times, and this is catastrophe. I think that's why in our group we have someone that is logistics, especially from Czech Republic, and this is his profession, how you optimize the movement of the people and product and medicine, etc. Okay, so you understand, this is my plan, this is the scale, and this is what I reached the claim. This is the theoretical model, and I'm going to say some things about this before I go to the practical model. Because theoretical is good, but you have to make it practical. That's what I did. After I found the claim, I decided to develop a model. I looked very well. There's no model. Every country does things like this and this, but no professional model. And how I developed the theoretical model. I took the three sides. One, I took the countries that did some preparation for nuclear event. I don't know if you know or not. Switzerland is perfectly 110%, excuse me, 114 of the population can go in a few minutes down. They have food, water, living room, number, door, sign, telephone, everything. Water pump, air. Switzerland is fully prepared. It's the most prepared country. So if you have an atomic war all over the world, fly to Switzerland. If you fall between the 1-4, which means 100 is the population, but they have extra room for visitors. So I took the countries. Finland. It's close by. Switzerland, Finland, United States, and Israel. I studied those countries as a case studies. So this is one conclusion I got. Then I took the big event all over the world, the biggest event that you know, Fukushima, Chernobyl, Three Mile Island, Nagasaki, and Hiroshima. So I picked a profile of this. And this is my research. The research, I took some high position people that will do or have some parts when a problem happened. I took politicians because if event happened, politicians will say what to do. So they give direction. So I sat with high position politicians in some places of the world and I asked them, interview them. I take the executors. Executors are people from like number 2 or 3, not less than the police, number 2 or 3 in the army, number 2 or 3 in the fire department. Many countries are fire department are taking care of the nuclear. And I made a profile with asking some questions. I took scientific people that are in charge of the nuclear engineering of reactors, high position, because I wanted my model to have a solid background of science. It's not enough that I read and I study some science, I want someone from the nuclear area. I took experience. I found people, high position as I could, one in Fukushima, one in Chernobyl, people that were actually a part of the physical treatment of the event. To ask them what to do well, and then I took a public, because my professor suggested me, I took a public opinion. I took people like judges, especially that are high intelligence, but they have no idea of nuclear and they have no idea of security. So they know intelligent people, they really understand. So this is the theoretical model. I did it from the countries, from the event, big event, and those peoples. I forgot to tell you, you can see this dot is running through, so you know you'll be done quickly. This is This is actually because myself, I believe that to do research, you have to go and see and feel, and not only read papers. To read is fine. So I did some things. This is Logol. You know what Logol is? You die, you take it. And if there is a serious event in your area, you swallow Logol. It's nothing problem, but it's salt that does something to your body with health-wise. So I took it. Nothing happened to me. Now I understand. I give the people Logol. I understand it's basically nothing. It's like Acamol. I went to a few weeks ago. Those are the dates exactly. You can see it happens. On September, this last September, I went to a 3-day in a reactor. This is a reactor. It's not actually the reactor. This is a cooling chamber of the reactor number 6. This is me right here again. And I went there and I went inside, and it's really nice, interesting, and a little bit frightening. I want you to share with me, so I give you some. This is me going with this. We go off our road because I had a. And you see the meter goes up, and you said you feel nothing. This is one of the problems of creation. You don't understand things, you don't see nothing. So sometimes it stops because we went out of the road. We were not supposed. I rent a doctor there. That is a lab, and he took me all the places that you're not allowed to go. Don't tell Putin. But on 16, I went to Finland. Finland has some preparation, not in the level of Switzerland, but they have some preparation. This is a high position guy. Nico, his name. He asked me in the high position in the interior office. This is a fireman officer. As I said before, many countries, the fire department are taking care of the nuclear stuff. This is ammonia, is a huge thing that if something happens, it may have a reaction like a nuclear. So I went there and I also got a field and instruction inside. This is the Russian Channel 9. I was interviewed a few weeks ago, and this is Fukushima, and everything is okay. If I'm not shining enough, I'm going to go in February to Fukushima to see how it is, but I have to tell you something. It's really different what you read and what you see. For example, if I were talking about Chernobyl, I was there. There is life after nuclear event. I met a person they call resettler, the people that coming back. There is 10 kilometers a circle and then 30 kilometers. The government does not, then they don't allow people to go into the 10-kilometer zone. He lived almost on the border. I sat with him. I saw his chicken. He's cooking his food. He has bears on the garden. I said, "You're not afraid?" "No, I have a garden, so the bear will not come in." And they have fish of this size, not because of it. People think that
that's the explanation. I mean.
No, people think that's good. People think it's because of the radiation. Is carpion? I don't know. Carp, you call it. It's about this size. I show you one. I don't have here. Sorry. The carpion is from you here. It's huge. You understand? But why the color? No, it's shiny yellow.
They have one fish.
Why they have this big? Not because of the radiation, just because nobody take them out, because you're not allowed, because fish and vegetables, things are not allowed. So this guy, 98 years old, going like this, he said, he give me chocolate, and he give me eggs from the chicken, and he give me everything, and everything he take in his backyard. I don't want to go more into that. So there is life after nuclear. Finding I got so far. Operative plans, as I said before, they don't really operate operation plans. Do not correspond to the event. The evacuation 1 to 10, I talk. Panic to the public is a big issue. Long critical time. Gorbachev only after 9 days stood up and said something to the country. It takes about 2 days. Imagine we have a catastrophe nearby. It takes 2 days until someone ended up in Fukushima. The same. Fukushima is really young, like a few years ago. And all the cases, nobody really gives them a right direction quick enough. International collaboration is a big issue. All the plans, all the models I found out, everybody said, okay, we, European Union, we're going to cooperate. Romania, with Bulgaria, with everybody. What happened in real life, all the cases investigated, nobody cooperated. So my model said, listen, nobody going to come to help you, you got to help yourself. Because everybody talks about cooperation, practically nobody helps you. Knowledge, I said, incident all over the world. Insurance also a big issue. if you need, for example, after the big events, the problem of the, say like the insurance said, 1 or 2 billion, you need about $50 billion. So each insurance is a problem. My model is talking, I'm going to the practical view and I'll do really quick. This is before the incident, during the incident, and after the incident. I got 17 macro stages. We're going to a city, we're going to get to a government who said you have to do 1, 2, 3, 4. We do some assessment and we recommend what to do. And there's 4 automatic steps because we saw that something happened. You don't have time to think and to calculate. You just pull automatic, also the private, also the government, and you use these steps. What have I done so far? This is actually a real logo that developed for us in the United States. And we have a website that you and your family can go there, or if you know that someone is relevant for the topic, you can send them a link. It's interesting, it's an interesting link. We have introduction and professional assessment, scientific background. We have a crew. We have 7 people, high positions, really people that have experience. And they are the crew. So once we go to a city and we make assessment, the people are taking the assessment are people that know nuclear for many, many years. Each one, we have 1 mayor and the right. On the 22nd of February, we're going to have in Israel an international conference on the nuclear defense, development of the practical model, a research conclusion, as I said before, state protection, city protection, and so I believe you should prepare, cope, and rehabilitate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ori. Well, for this very exciting and strangely intimidating presentation. Definitely, you have an interesting ability.